So stay tuned, watch the show, and have fun. Bye-bye.
So, welcome to the first ever held Juice World Charging Day in history. How you doing? Perfect. Oh, it's great to be here. Today we will reveal game-changing technology in the near future. And the question is, why can we do that here at Juice Technology? And the reason is, we got the best team on earth, we got worldwide experience, and we have high-quality engineers and analysts, and we are members of the worldwide standardization communities. And so let's get started. Are you ready, guys? Yeah. Oh, come on, that wasn't enough. Are you ready? Yeah. Woo! Perfect. Let's get a big warm welcome for German's biggest YouTuber of Emobility, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher, aka Carmaniac. Woo!
Hi together. So I'm Christopher, or more known as Chris from the channel Carmaniac, as he already said, and I'm running this EV-related channel for bringing the e-mobility closer to the people. And it's not that easy, actually. So in these 10 minutes, while I'm speaking, I'm going to be talking about one disadvantage of the e-mobility that hopefully Juice Technology is going to solve. We're going to see what they're going to present to us. But let's start from the bottom, actually. So the biggest problem in e-mobility isn't range anxiety. So it's not that. It is also this fear, but it's more the charging, but also not the DC charging. And in this moment, I'd like to ask who of you here is already driving an electric car? Could you put your hands up? Okay, quite a lot. And who is driving a Tesla from these people? Okay, so that shows actually that most of the people are driving Tesla when they are driving longer distances, especially because Tesla and its network is dominating. So e-mobility is really easy with Tesla. But outside of this Tesla bubble, which is really positive because Tesla shows how to do it, e-mobility is quite hard. But it's not the DC charging, because I have proved last week, and there's going to be a video coming up on my channel about it, I have proved also to myself that driving an EV car isn't so much slower than a combustion engine. I drove from Munich to Wolfsburg with an Audi e-tron, and I tried it to do it as close as possible, just like with a combustion engine. I drove 160 kilometers an hour, and I just lost 25 minutes with the charging. And that shows that it's quite close and there's lots of development. The biggest problem in e-mobility is the AC charging. I can see it in my comments. Once I'm doing a video, mostly it's reviews because I'm focused on car reviews. So I'm testing cars, which are not on the market yet, and showing the advantages and disadvantages of these cars. And I can see from the comments, which are mostly 4-digit comments, so 2,000 comments below a video, and most of the people say, yeah, e-mobility is fine, it's really cool, and it might be just more environmentally friendly, but I'm living in an apartment house with 20 to 30, 50 other people, and I'm happy if I can find a parking space in the evening when I'm coming back from my office. Let's not talk about charging, please. I don't even have a garage. And this is the biggest problem, that even people who have a garage and a common garage with many other residents in the house, they don't have charging possibilities. And if you don't have charging possibilities at home and at work, which is a situation where many people are kept in, actually, in this situation, then an EV car just takes a lot from your comfort, from the daily comfort. Everything is so hard, we have so much stress, children, work and stuff. And if there comes on top that you need to plan your day after your car, instead of your car does what you want, it gets too complicated in the eyes of most of the people. And this is where we need to find a solution so that even people having a garage, a common garage, have access to AC charging. Because if you have it, it's the easiest thing ever. Because you come home from the office at 7 o'clock in the evening, you plug in your car, and even if it's just 7.4 kilowatts, for example, Jaguar I-Pace or a Hyundai Ioniq, the next day your car is completely charged, actually within 6-7 hours, depending on the battery size. And it might be possible because many garages and houses have these possibilities to charge, but the house management doesn't want that because an electric car might burn down a lot easier. This is what the common thought is due to media. Once an electric car is burning, everyone is talking about it. But once a combustion engine car is burning, no one is talking about it. And that's this fear. And number two is that they say, okay, where do you get the electricity from? Because in this garage, where we've got 20 other cars parking, we have a common electricity for everyone. Just if you'd like to do something quickly, you just, whatever, if you clean your car. But charging is something different because battery sizes ask you to have more electricity that you need to put in your car. So in the case of an Audi e-tron, 80 or more kilowatt hours. And this makes it difficult to separate who was just taking all of that electricity. Was it apartment number 2? Was it apartment number 3? And there we need intelligent solutions separating the apartments, or actually this one who was charging the car, and also giving you the possibility to check on your phone, okay, I have charged, or I have reached 90%, let's stop, because my neighbor also has an electric car and he can charge. So it's not just the community between electric car drivers, it's the solutions that we need. And it's not about private people who need to bring that. This is what the government needs to do. Supporting it financially for house managements, just to give access to AC charging at home and even in the streets, of course, because people parking in the streets need to have this possibility. And at least, hopefully, today we're going to see this solution brought by Juice Technology. I have to be honest, even I don't know what it is about. I'm a Juice Technology partner because I'm selling the Juice Booster through my channel, so people can buy it from my channel and they get a discount. And I'm really convinced about this product because I just use it as well. Every time when I'm on a trip, I'm using it, or I have it as a security with me, just to be able to charge everywhere. And the next level is expecting us, hopefully here. And this is the main problem in my eyes, AC charging and bringing the e-mobility to people who don't own a house, who don't have a garage, who have to park in the streets and don't want to have a walk in the hardest rain, hardest winter, hardest summertime, walking home 1 kilometer or more just because they need to find a charging station if they can find one. So that's the most important thing that we need to deal with. And I'm also curious about what's happening in the future, and this is what we're going to hear now. What's happening in the future? In the future 10 years, I just can imagine what it is, a lot faster charging cars, more range, but that's not all. And we have a futurist here who is also member of the Juice Technology Board. His name is Lars Thomsen, and he's going to talk about the future of e-mobility for the next 10 years. So please welcome him with a warm applause. Here he is. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Oh yes, we have to talk about the future, and we have to do it today. Many of us are right now thinking about how long this coronavirus will have its grab on our society, and we are talking about what will happen this week or until the end of the month or probably the end of the year. But what we are forgetting is that we are living in a time where we see more changes in industries than we've ever seen in a decade before. In the 2020s, the decade that has just begun, we will see major changes. And oftentimes we underestimate how quickly they come. Now, last week we saw a number that us as futurists shocked deeply. It was the number 7.2%. And everybody said, okay, why were you so shocked by a number of 7.2%? That was the number of electric cars as percentage of the new car sales in Europe that had a plug, that were either electric vehicles or battery electric vehicles or plug-in hybrids. And it jumped from 2.4% in the second quarter of 2019, 2.4 to 7.2 in the second quarter of 2020. Now that is threefold. It's not just doubling, it has tripled within one single year. Now, even if we are considering, okay, there might be some effects from Corona and some internal combustion engines were sold less in that time, it is still a tipping point. And that is a very important term that we have to talk about today. Now, oftentimes when we are seeing exponential growth curves, people are having a hard time understanding what exponential growth is. And the funny thing is, there are quite a lot of people who say, nobody could have expected that electric mobility would pick up that fast. Well, to be perfectly honest, at Juice Technologies and also at my company, Future Matters, that we are working with futurists in, the trend of electric mobility was clear from the 2015 year on. And we saw a doubling of the electric car percentage in new car sales in Europe, doubling every year. Now, with every new trend, it starts off very slowly, or it starts off with a very small percentage. So when I tell you in 2015, we had about 0.1% of all new car sales were electric, 0.1. The year later, 2016, it was 0.2%. In 17, it was 0.4%, and in 18, it was 0.8%. And I know we had a big hype in the media and everybody saying, okay, electric mobility is coming. And people got very disappointed and say, okay, they've been talking about it for 4 years now. We cannot see the cars. It's under 1%. So where is it? But if you keep doubling, you see what I mean when I talk about a tipping point. Because if you are continuing to double, it's 0.8, then it's 1.6. That was in the year 2019. It's 3.2, that's 2020. And then it's 6.4, 2021. Then it's 12.8 in 2022. Then it's 25.6 in 23. And it will be over 50 in 24 if you keep doubling. Now, why is the first number that I told you is so shocking? Because we are going ahead of this curve. Everybody was laughing at us. In Juice's business plan, we had that, and investors said, you're crazy. And now the reality has actually overtook what we've predicted as an exponential growth phase. Now, what is so interesting is that is, when you see a curve, you have a long tail at the beginning, and then you have a sharp rising, what many people call a hockey stick, where it really breaks out. And we are at this point right now. And the drivers right now, you will be able to experience today when you go outside the hall. We have some new car companies. We have quite a lot of factors that push electric mobility with a very, very big tailwind right now. Factors like battery improvement. There's one easy number to remember. It's 3 times 1% per month. Now, battery in general, and don't take me by the month, but if you take the big picture, is improving by 1%, the price goes down. 1%, the energy density in a battery technology that you can put into a given space or compartment that you need to put in a car increases by 1% every month. And the longevity of a battery, how many cycles you can charge, is also improving by at least 1% per month, not per year, per month. And because these factors all interact with each other, so you get a battery that is cheaper, has a longer life, has higher energy density, so you can drive greater distances, is pushing us to the point where we are getting parity. Just like Chris said a few minutes ago, it used to be the way that you paid twice as much for a car that drove only half as far compared to internal combustion engines. Now we are coming to the point where you can drive the same distance with an electric car and charging infrastructure, and if you compare the power ratings and the acceleration and the quality of car you get for the same price, you basically have parity. But this basically slips right now. So in 5 years from now, it will be hard for any car company to produce internal combustion engines that actually can compete in price and in performance and in total cost of ownerships to electric cars. Now, when I talk about the urgency, it also helps to think about not in years, but in weeks. The funny thing is, I just looked it up. Did you know that in 15 weeks from now, we have already Christmas? Now you can see the first Christmas cookies in the supermarkets. But if you think about 4 years, the time until we have almost 50% of all new car sales being electric is just 200 weeks away from us, 200 Tuesdays like today. And in that time, we need to take care of some very basic elements. We have climate change, and everybody knows that we have to do something about it. We need to decarbonize our systems, which is both the electric grid system that we are producing our electricity, rather than renewable sources than burning fossil fuels. We have to decarbonize our mobility sector, whether it's cars or motorcycles or vans or trucks or utility vehicles. And we also have to get rid of fossil fuel heating and cooling systems and replace them with heat pumps. There's a big stress that is coming on our energy system, and the funny thing is there's one missing element. Now, we have basically 2 separate, very big industries. There's the car manufacturing industries, and they take care that they can keep up with the pace to produce the cars that consumers want now, that they get enough batteries so that they can build these cars, that they are fast enough in developing new technologies, whether it's self-driving technologies or anything else. And they're occupied with that, so they cannot really take care of how we charge the car. They just, they take care that the car drives good, that it's reliable and everything. And then on the other hand, we have the energy industries, the utilities, those energy companies who, well, are not the most innovative companies in the world, and I hope that not too many people in this audience are from the utility industries, but you know what I'm talking about. You've never been dependent on high-tech innovation to succeed, but basically following the rules that the regulator gave you, and to make sure that our lights don't go out twice a day so that you have a reliable energy system. And now, with electric mobility and the stress on the system is quite big, and I have to explain again why 7.2%, and that is the actual number of cars with a plug, with a socket that connects to the electricity system is so important. That is quite a lot of number of plugs, and it's quite a lot of number of energy that we need. Now, on the day that you buy yourself an electric car and you take it home and you start plugging it in at your carport or in your garage or wherever you want to charge it, or whether it's at workplace or at home, you are doubling the amount of energy you use in a year. So if your household consumed about 5,000 kilowatt hours per year without the electric car, on the day you start having it, and if you have a second car, you triple it, you're going from 5,000 to 10,000 kilowatt hours. Now, that is quite a number, but there's even a more interesting number. Now, a normal household usually consumes about 10 kilowatt hours a day. That that calculates to about 3.5 to 5,000 kilowatt hours in a year that you consume. An electric car, when it plugs in on a three-phase socket with 11 amps, it draws about 10 times the energy that is the main average energy that your house draws. So if you have an apartment complex with 10 apartments, you usually calculate that, little bit fluctuating over time, the basic amount of energy that you need for every apartment is about a kilowatt hour, with some peaks when people switch on their electric oven. But with a electric car, we are tenfolding the amount of power that we need at a given moment that people plug it in. And now there's this big paradigm shift. From a freak market, where only a few people drove electric cars. Until last year, it was 2%. 2% of new car owners drove an electric car. It really didn't matter if they plugged in their car at 7 o'clock at night, when we have a peak in the energy system, because people switching on their lights and their television sets and their ovens and whatever they want to do. And everybody said, no problem. But if we're talking about 7.2% electric cars and they all plug in at 7 o'clock at night in Europe, we would have a problem. We would basically have a problem that we don't have enough, for one, renewable energy to support renewable energy use in electric charging, but have to fire up another coal-fired power plant to do that, ruining the effects that we wanted to achieve with electric mobility. The other thing is that if you have a parking garage for an apartment complex where you have like 10 people living in there, and they have like 4 or 5 of these cars, you will simply blow the main fuse with that if they all charge at the same time. And there's also one more thing missing. Right now, we don't really have an incentive for people to charge at a time where we have more energy that we can actually sell, and to discourage them to charge at a time where we don't have enough energy. Now, as you know, solar and wind, they are not blowing and shining the same amount all over the day, but we have peaks. And basically, at every minute of the day, we have either too little or too much energy. So in the future, to have access to storage, and remember, a car with a 100 kilowatt hour battery can store up to 10 days of the electricity demand of a household of 4 people. 10 days, you can store that. And you already have it because you bought the car and it's standing there in your driveway, so why not use it? So right now we are looking at this world, okay, there's the automotive world, there's the utility world, and you see there is a connection missing. The reason why I'm so proud to be here today, and the reason why we called it the World Charging Day, is that I think Juice is right now the only company that I know of that has actually understood the task that is at hand right now. To form a umbilical cord, an Nadelschnur, between those two sectors, the energy producing and distribution sector and the mobility sector. And to do that in an intelligent and smart way so that we can actually fulfill the promise of the electric mobility revolution to be a sustainable and a safe way of producing energy, to enable both prosumers and consumers and drivers and electricity providers to use that energy to that time that they need it, to incorporate the storage that we have at hand and to make it smart. Now, the smartness comes through a tipping point as well. We have internet all over the place. We are calling it the Internet of Things. Our devices, our cars, our smartphones are connected all the time. And once we can create a data-driven model that we can connect these two to actually help the electrical grid to be even more resilient against power outages, to help customers to fill up their cars more cheaply, and to incorporate new renewable energy sources, that is the tipping point. And this tipping point is one of the few that is not in the future, it is today. Now, juice technology has always been 2 or 3 steps ahead of the present. And that's why I joined the company as member of the board a couple of years ago. And it's probably one of the few companies in Europe, although it is located in Switzerland, that you can closely compare to a Silicon Valley company. The agility of this company, the people who work there, how they interact with each other, how they deal with innovation, how they are striving and be brave in new ideas and putting them forward, and they are not really afraid of people telling them, no, never has tried that before. They just go for it. And what they will present to you today, I'm very proud of. And without further ado, I would like to give it over, present to you the founder and CEO of Juice Technologies. Give it up for Christoph Erni. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Hello, everybody. Great to have you here. Cool. You know, we heard it right now. The climate has a problem, and we all can do something to solve it. To help to solve it, we can drive electric. And that is what's happening right now. We heard it. And what is also very important to understand is when we all drive electric, we need to have sophisticated, future-proof charging stations, charging solutions. And that is what we are going to talk about right now, this afternoon. And I'm going to present to you what we can do for the world to help to go to the next step. So first of all, a few words to the company. Maybe you have seen or you know us already very well. So you know that we have been world charging leader in mobile charging with 22 kilowatt stations for 5 years now. Maybe you have realized that we got tier 1 supplier. Everybody said a young company cannot do that. We did. So we are directly supplying to the automotive industry. And of course, you are also a member of international standardization committees. By the way, you have tripled the turnover every year till now, which is quite a lot. And even in this difficult Corona year, we'll end up with more than doubling the turnover again, which is a fairly good result. So I think we can honestly say we have a message to share. And that's what we are going to do right now. And I'm very happy that you joined us in so big numbers this afternoon here live in Munich. And I'm happy that we have a live stream going out in the world to share these thoughts. I can truly say we love software. You might think that we are a hardware company because you know our hardware components. But in fact, deep in our heart, We are a software company. Many of our people are coming from software. And the most important thing is that when we want to go to the next step of charging, we need software products. We need products that are software-based because it is software that makes the difference. We'll go deeper into that this afternoon. First of all, I give you a few examples of solutions that we carry already in our portfolio that are really software-based. For instance, our charging management. This one has been leading now for 3 years in the market because it is the only charging management system that is really fully scalable. It doesn't end up with 8 or 16 stations in a row, but you can scale it up to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever parking lots you have in your garage, we can cover it. The difficult thing with that is to understand what even charging management means. The fact is, most of the stations or the solutions in the market, they refer to static charging. The opposite is dynamic charging. Static means it's nothing more than a pocket calculator. It just takes the amperage you have in the house and it divides by the number of cars that are attached. And that's the amperage that you can provide to every car. Dynamic is a little bit more because it also calculates how much energy is consumed in a house at the same time. And then you make the same division as in the static management, and you divide the rest that is available. Of course, when you really want to have it dynamic, you have to recalculate this every few seconds or minutes, however you do it. But in fact, it is still quite a simple calculation thing. So our engineers said, well, that is only beginning. We have to invent something that goes further. And that's what we already did, and we are always refining it now and tomorrow. We call it not only dynamic, but omnidynamic, because it contains everything that happens in a house. For instance, the solar production on the roof, or the battery that has a possibility to store and also to give energy. And of course, there are a few functions that are really impressive. For instance, a very sophisticated prioritization method. I mean, if you have a big flat with some 100 parking spaces, some people need to charge faster than other ones do. And of course, you have to have a separate billing for them because otherwise everyone would be prioritized. Or for instance, you need to understand the car characteristics. The protocol that runs between the car and the station is very poor because it's quite old-fashioned and we cannot change that at the moment as it is a standard. But we found a way to understand what car is attached and to understand the characteristics of the car so that we can handle each car with its defects, or let's say specialities, separately, so that a safe and reliable charging is guaranteed. Then, even more, we understand how that cars do not die during the charging process. When you pause them, or when you have to make a short log off, maybe because of an interrupt of energy, they could really die and you cannot rewake them later on. So the user ends up with an empty car in the morning. Nobody wants that. Or an empty car after a long-term charging when you're on a holiday, meanwhile. So we understand how to wake the cars, how to bring them back to life. Very important thing, sounds easy, but is really a tough software game. And then we are really leading in load shedding. Load shedding is now almost in every grid mandatory. And what most people do is they just shut off, like they shut off their boiler, they shut off the energy, and this gives a really big spark. When you have a parking lot of several hundred cars, the spark will be tremendous. Will be enlightening, by the way. So we do it elsewhere. We just take this signal, we communicate with each charging station, the charging station communicates with the car, and we make a smooth shutdown of the charging so that we can re-wake the car when the energy comes back, is available again. And of course, we are already ready for remote controlling by the power suppliers. This will be present quite soon. We heard it from Carmaniac and Lars Thomsen. When many people are charging, then we really have to be prepared that we can steer and manage the whole charging process. Otherwise, at 7 o'clock in the evening, when everybody comes home, plugs in his car, and the mama is cooking upstairs, it will be a problem. So that is why we said it is something really different from classic dynamic charging. We change it to omnidynamic, and that is what we do already now. What is quite impressive is it doesn't only work with 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 cars, but it works with a real bunch of cars, an infinite number. So, I'm coming to the next example. This is credit card payment. Maybe you've heard of that already. I mean, it's always a hassle with classic charging cards. You never have the right one in your pocket. When you could pay by credit card, this would be much easier. But the real thing is to pay contactless by credit card. This sounds very easy, but is not when you're charging, because when you charge, you only know at the very end how much you want to pay, because only then you know how much energy you have taken. So that means we have to do a sophisticated software solution that takes the credit card number, makes a reservation with a credit card organization, and then only when you plug out, maybe after a few minutes, maybe after a few days because you were on holiday meanwhile, maybe even after some different charging sessions because your car was full meanwhile and then had to recharge after a few days again, only when you plug it out, the final signal goes to the credit card organization and makes the final billing. As this was not foreseen in this system, it was a real hard software work, but we managed to do so, and we are on the market with that now. Another example for great software we do is our Choose Celsius temperature sensing household plug. We want you to charge safely every day, everywhere, wherever you are. To do so, we invented temperature sensors right in the pins of the plug at the very front. And it realizes if the charging process, the socket, the plug gets hot. If it gets hot, it produces, again, like with load shedding, a controlled shutdown with the car in order to re-wake it later on when the temperature came down. It sounds like a piece of hardware, like a sensor in it, but the difficulty lies in the software. We are often asked, what are you really doing? And of course, I won't tell you because it is a secret. Well, another great piece of software we are now presenting today, later on afterwards, you can touch it and feel it, is the next generation of our Juice Charger, the Juice Charger 3, it is called, and it carries our new Clear View display. We call it Clear View display because it's really clear, and it is a tremendous experience. It is a highly responsive touch display. It has the capability to show videos, or it even has the capability that you can use all your touch gestures, for instance, to work with Google Maps to find the nearest by restaurant when you are charging. So if you remember maybe other charging experiences out there, sometimes there are some LEDs on it, and you're figuring out what a blue LED means. Does it mean the charging station is free, or does it mean the charging station is already charging, or what? You maybe never figure out what the engineer thought when he invented that. So we said, good user interaction starts with a really good display, and we add it to each and every Juice Charger 3 from right now on. Of course, this needs quite a lot of calculating power, and you don't get out of the shelf. So we invented our Juice Jet engine, our very own processor that is carrying a great firmware and carrying a real great calculating power. It is a multi-core processor, it is quad-core to be precise, and it is ruggedized. It is, of course, shock-proof, weather-proof, cold-proof, heat-proof, whatever you need when you're charging out there in the real world. I mean, who the hell is integrating such a kind of a processor in a charging station? I can proudly say we do, because we know it is very important, and only with that we are really future-proof. If you would go for hardwired station, we would just be the same like anybody else on the market. We say we don't really know what the future will bring, what the lawmakers probably will ask us to do. Our stations are already ready because the calculating power is already inbuilt. So, I think I can say our hardware really looks good. We are maybe one of the leading hardware builders there, but that's not the key. The key is really software. Maybe you didn't know that we employ twice as many software engineers as hardware engineers. And that is not by accident. It is by importance. By the way, when you pass by at our offices close to Zurich Airport, you will find the lights on almost day and night. Maybe at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, there is a few short minutes where it's really dark there, but the rest of the time everybody is working. Friday at 7 in the evening, everybody is working and really have to tear them out of the office to get a beer together. So it is really great to have a team like that, and if Californian spirit means something to you, that is what you can find in the very heart of Switzerland. And I'm proud on this team, and this is the moment to say thank you to them. Well, I promised you a few highlights already in the invitation, and here's the first one. It's a kind of a game changer because he said, what is really important for the future? And the important thing is, of course, to go deeper into the software.
No way, though. Maybe I can't let go. Maybe I thought you'd take my side, my side. No way, though. You never think it through. One more round, I'm not going down tonight. Baby, you're worth the fight.
Yeah. The important thing is to understand what makes life really easy. And it is clever thought solutions. I mean, somebody always has to hassle around when you're charging, either the engineers or the customer, and we prefer that our engineers do. And I show you how we do it. So everything fits together when we develop stations. So you have seen this Juice jet engine as the core of all our charging stations. And of course, this Juice jet engine is part of the Juice booster. And the Juice booster, as you might know, is part of the Juice charger because it goes in there. And the Juice charger, in fact, is the same like the Juice hub for public charging. And this has the same basis as the Juice Twin. And it has the same basis as the Juice Hub Public. So that means, what is the benefit for you? That means that we develop everything only once. And this gives us a tremendous power because we don't have to carry, like other ones do, 20 or 30 different charging stations, and we don't have to keep them alive. We make one development with all the power in it, and we copy it from small to big. For you, that means better solutions at a better price. Even if we come from Switzerland, very important to understand. I mean, we're always under investigation to be a little bit expensive, but I can assure our prices are always average, while the products are really on the top end. How can we do that? Of course, with clever engineering, but also because meanwhile we produce in really big numbers. And of course, we have a clever engineering that leads to lean production. So all this package means better products at a better price, and this is the basis for a large rollout for charging and for electric driving. All this, what you have seen right now, we call it J+, because that means everything fits together. Every tool, every device you can buy at Juice that has this J+ logo on it from now on means it works together. Where J+ is on it, it works together. Always and every time. Also with the back end. That's why we brought our engineers now to the point that we had our classic backend and our charging management backend brought together into one great software. And this software is, of course, not only on the computer, but is also in an app. And that's how it looks like. We have this GUI team in our offices, and they work in the marketing area for that they are as close as possible with the customers. And you will be able to overview everything what goes on with your charging station, from charging energy to all your connections that you have on, to the history, to the timing. You can even print out or send a receipt if you are charging outside or in a hotel. That's what we think is really the future and what we build for you, and we name it J+. How does that look in practical life? Let's take Joanna. Joanna is a nice girl because she bought an electric car. And she bought an electric car. And she bought, of course, a juice booster. No, she bought two, in fact, to have one with her and one at home for charging. And that's what she does here. She charges at home. And because her boyfriend realizes how cool it is to drive electric, the acceleration and everything, he buys an electric car as well. That means they have two charging stations at home, two boosters. What happens now with the next generation is that they are J+ capable, and that means they talk together. From the very first moment that you have them online at home, you click them together with a QR code, and they know that they have to share the available energy. And of course, they talk to the same backend. And of course, they do everything together, what you can imagine. And if you have two boosters, you will soon have three ones. Also, this one goes seamlessly into it. And maybe they add a Juice charger for their friends. They put it outside the house, goes with it. Second charger as well. More boosters because they equip the whole underfloor garage there as well. Even more boosters, even more chargers, even Juice towers. Everything that has a J+ logo on it in the future will work seamlessly together. That's the good part of it. But it means for many real estate owners that there are big investments coming to them, because when you have many charging stations, you will have a lot of things to do. You will have to do the planning. You will have to install the energy to each and every charging station. You will have to buy many charging stations. You will have to maintain them. In fact, what we heard all in the market, this is a real hassle for almost everybody. And especially for most of the people, they think it is quite unclear what is coming on. Is this the right decision for now or for the next 20 years? Do I have to replace everything within the next 2 or 3 years again? Do I have to pay it twice? What is coming on? So we understand that we have to find a solution for them to help the people to get this rollout of electric cars now really soon. When you have a garage like here with 30 or 40 parking places, you have to do all that stuff I mentioned before. Planning, evaluation, buying the stations, and of course installing a kind of an electricity grid in your garage. Most electricians, they recommend to take this flat wire rubber cable because it's cheap, but it doesn't help a lot as it carries only 63 amps or so, and it won't last for long. Because when you have only 3 or 4 cars in the garage, that's fine. But when you have 30 or 40 cars in the garage, and you heard it from Lars Thomsen, this will happen soon, then you really have a problem. So rather do it the first time right, and that's what we are going to do. We say we provide a zero problem solution for the users. We installed a subsidiary, daughter company in German, a new company called Choose Services, and Choose Services takes care of everything. Choose Services AG will do everything for you. If you have a house with around, let's say, starting at 30 parking places, from 30 on, it is a good deal. 30 or more parking places will care about everything. That means we'll care about the planning, we'll care about the installation, we'll give you endless warranty. That means as long as you're renting the station, you will have warranty. And of course, you will also have updates, and you will have upgrades if there are necessary any. If the law changes, we'll do it for free, it is included. And if the cable is worn out, for instance, or somebody drives into the charging station, we'll replace it for free because there is also an insurance included. So we can really say this solution is future-proof. And of course, there is even more coming with it. There is a juice charger at every station that you really need to charge. For the other ones, just the electricity is there, and even the charging adapter is already included. And we provide the charger as soon as you really want to charge. There is a smart juice, that is the charging management system that is included. Then comes the bus bar system. This means not only the flat wire cable, but the really hardcore bus bar system included. For you, it means much less loss of energy because the transportation of energy is much better through a heavy-duty bus bar. We pay for it, you benefit. That's the business model of that one. And of course, we install also a Wi-Fi that you can update your car. Maybe if you're already driving electric, you realize that car updates come now over the air. So you need a Wi-Fi in your garage. We provide that as well because it's quite handy. And of course, you can prioritize, and there is the back-end management and billing, and everything is included. And of course, this nice app we have seen before. So, what is the price for that? We calculated it, and we ended up with around 129 euros per month, and we found it too expensive. So we recalculated, and we optimized the business model because we were used to do that with the hardware anyway. And so we did it with this model now again. And we ended up with a price for every place you really want to charge. And it goes for every garage starting at 30 parking places or more, with around 10% equipped of the parking places. Means here, the model we've seen before, 40 parking places, 4 places equipped. We start at a price as low as 69 euros per month. I think this is really a deal, isn't it? Well, But I promised you 3 game changers, and here's the third one. The third one will show the next generation of charging. Where leads charging to? At the very beginning, when we started the business, there were kind of 2 charging devices available. So on one hand, we had this backup charging cable. That's the one you still get in your cars when you don't get a juice booster with it. So that's still what you get. This is this Oma cable, the grandmother cable, that doesn't that isn't of much use because it's limited to 8 amperes or 13 ampere single phase in any way, and it's really less than a backup cable. It should maybe be called useless cable. Anyway, the other side was the charging station that is wall mounted. By the way, it's a strange name, wall box, because you don't call your refrigerator kitchen box or so. Well, anyway. So the classic charging station that is wall mounted is also a one-in-one device. Both devices had just one use, either to be used mobile or to be used at home. So at the very beginning, on the founding of Juice Technology, we found there is room for another charging station, for another device class in between that, and this is the 2-in-1. And the 2-in-1 is a kind of like a mobile station that can also be used at home because it is powerful enough. There are few on the market now, and a few years ago we said, no, there is another class in between. It is the 3-in-1, and we call it Juice Booster. You might know it. The Juice Booster has 3 functions, and the 3 functions are, it can be used mobile, if you are on your trip. You can use it at home instead of a wall box. And you can use it, and that's the real good thing on it, you can use it as a Mode 3 charging cable when you charge on a public charging station, instead of the classic Type 2 cable. The benefit of that is you have only one cable on board with different adapters, and the benefit for OEMs, for car manufacturers, is you pay less for a juice booster with different adapters than you pay for an emergency backup charging cable plus a Type 2 cable. That is a kind of a deal. Some realized it already, others will do in the near future. Well, anyway, maybe you know we have a free hotline here at Juice. So we are really close to the market. We understand what our customers' needs are. And we've done a survey because we wanted to understand if you could design a charging station of your own, what should be the key factors that you really need most? What would you like to have in the future? And astonishingly enough, most mentioned was the size. People want to have it small. Obviously, size doesn't matter always. Well, this was most mentioned. Second was easy to handle. People want no hassle, they want it really easy. That they can work easy with a thing, that they don't have to use their brains because the brain is already used nowadays in the business so much. Number 3 was it must be safe. We're quite good on that right now. Maybe you've seen our videos. Also maybe the next point, it must be reliable. The Juice Booster is the most reliable tool on the market. You might know we have 0.1, no less than 0.1% of warranty cases, which is really low. There's a fun story about it. We have these spare boosters. So if anything happens to your Juice Booster, we'll send you, wherever you are in the world, we'll send you a spare booster that you can charge immediately. And this Juice Booster will send you for free if it is a warranty case. And of course, we paint it then really ugly in orange for that you hand it back afterwards. And we've made 50 of these Juice Boosters, of these loaners. And recently somebody came to me from the warehouse and said, what the hell are we doing with these things? They're just laying around. I mean, we have nothing more than 5 out there. So it's a real problem, because we have 10,000 of juice boosters sold, many 10,000 sold in the world, and we don't use these spare boosters. So it's quite a good proof of reliability. It must be compliant, of course. We just proved it with our TUV certification, TÜV certificate. TUV showed that our booster is fully compliant, which is very important also regarding the safety. Must be overrun proof. I think you have seen the tank video, good fun to watch it. And it must be connective to everything. We solved that with the J Plus that I already presented to you. And astonishingly to me, 16 amps for most people seems to be enough, maybe because there are many cars now coming out charging at 11 kilowatt. So we went to our engineers and said, what are we going to do with it? And they said, okay, it's time to add a new class of products. The next generation of charging products, a 6-in-1. 3-in-1 will not be enough because there are so many needs that the people have. We go for 6-in-1. I'll come back to that later, and I'll first show you what they did. And they did it right in time for this event. That is a kind of great, isn't it? Maybe you have seen the name. To be honest, it won't replace our very successful Juice Booster 2. It will be an additional class. But as the shape is quite the same, we went for the same name. We have seen before in the video before, life must be easy. So let's keep it easy, same shape, same name. That's why it's called Juice Booster 3. And because it's small, we call it Juice Booster 3 Air. But the Juice Booster 2 will still be alive. The 6-in-1 means it still covers the same functions like Juice Booster 2, means mobile, charging at home, being a charging cable at the same time, but it will also cover access management, it will cover charging management. You remember the J Plus brings everything with it, and it will also cover a great backend that comes for free with it. Everything will be available at an absolutely reasonable price. So this is Juice Booster 3. And by the way, we are also a bit proceeding with a fixed charging station. We call it 7-in-1. It will be the Juice Charger 3 that you can experience right after this event live in the other hall over there. So, why can we do that? It is because we really understand software. It is a software thing. And because we understand it, we can live it every day. And as we live it every day, you understand, we love it. Well, to show how advanced this Juice Booster 3 Air is, I'll give you a few details. Let's start with this most important factor, size, the smallness. When you have other charging stations, let's take another mobile charging station on the market, side view, top view, maybe you can recognize it. This is a kind of typical station, good quality, well done. This station has a volume of around 2,900 something cubic centimeters. That means it is an equivalent to around 3 liters of milk. Maybe also the weight, I don't know. But at least the volume, it's quite big. It's quite something. So the Juice Booster 2, compared to that, is much smaller. And especially when you see it from top and from the side, I mean, it's only a tube of 7 centimeters diameter. When you see it from those two directions, you can understand that it's much smaller. It's only half a liter of volume. And the Juice Booster 3 Air now, we went to our engineers and said, "You're drinking so much Coke. Why don't you refer to a Coke can and take that as a size model?" They said, "Well, we could do it, but we make it smaller." That's what they did. A Coke can has 33 centiliters of volume. They did it with 28. Everything fits in there, and you can imagine, of course, everything is custom built. You don't get the parts on the market at that size. You really have to invent every single part in it to make it happen. To make it more clear even, to understand what this size difference means, we can show you a bar diagram. This bar diagram shows the great difference between all these 3 devices. And that means the Juice Booster 3 Air is really tiny. In fact, it is 10 times as tiny as other stations on the market. And this shows it is not a small difference, it is a huge difference. A huge difference, what it means to engineering, to invention, to bring it really to life. And I think, once again, to our engineers, we know we always have tough times together. I'm really pushing them hard, but I have to say thank you to all of you. You're so great. You're the best team in the world. So let's go again through a few pictures because it's so nice to look at. I mean, you can see everything you know already from the Juice Booster 2 is in it, but it goes, of course, for far more. You will offer it at a decent price. I promised that to you already. And it will be available with everything included, of course. You know it, there is a top bag included with Velcro fixation. There are adapters included. The back end comes with it. Of course, all the safety comes with it. Yeah, I think it's a really no sorrow solution for everybody here. It will be available from beginning of 2021. We are undergoing now the last few tests, which are very important, of course. We are really good in the time plan, and I can say it will really define a new category in charging. If you want to be informed what is going on, please subscribe to our newsletter. This is the address. So you have the newsletter, and you will be among the first to be informed when it is really available, and even when you can pre-order it. And it might be sooner than you think. Let me come to the conclusion of today. What have we presented to you? First of all, we started with J+. J+ means we're going more, even more than now in the direction of a software company, as charging is turning into pure software. Of course, we are still producing the hardware, but the software makes the difference. The connectivity makes the difference. If you buy other stations, fine, but you might have to change them out within the next 2 or 3 years, because when everybody's driving electric, this will be the new measure between standard and good. The second part is charging as a service. Available from today, we provide charging that you can rent at a very reasonable price with no sorrows at all. You just snip your fingers, our teams come to your house, we install it, we take care of everything. That is how it should look like, I think. And the third part is the Juice Booster 3 Air I've presented right now. You might realize how small it really is compared to the Type 2 plug that has a new shape. Maybe you will experience it later on when you take it in your hand live. There are some functions in it I don't mention right now. Well, so I think these are great news. It is very important to understand that the world is turning faster now, and we have to really keep up with it. And that's why we are also keeping up, making good inventions for your benefit. I invite you now to see the products live. We have it in studio over there, studio number 3. We have a few cars of partners of us. One to mention the Opel Corsa E, a very nice car that already carries the Juice Booster 2. It's named Universal Charger there. Others will come later. And you will see also the Juice Charger 3 with this great Clearview display. And you will see the Juice Booster 3 up on a pyramid. Due to COVID, please queue thoroughly, and only 2 people at a time should really go up to the pyramid. You may take it in your hand, you may plug it in, plug it out, whatever you like. You may take pictures, feel free to do so. To our people at home or in the offices at the live stream, please stay tuned, because you will have a tight insight into the practical things that you will see over there. So, all I can say is thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, for giving us the chance to present all these things to you. I'm very happy that you belong to the Juice crowd, and I invite you to enjoy the afternoon. Thanks. See you over there.
So, welcome back. Thank you, Christoph, for this nice presentation. And like Christoph said, now it's getting time to take a closer look to the new products. And the gate opens, and as we can see, we have this wonderful big hall. And what is a motor show? Who needs a motor show when you have the Juice Charging Day over here? Because we have the brand new electric cars right now in front of us, the Opel Corsa E. Then we have this fantastic, this wonderful iWays. Most of you never seen them before, not live. And we have the brand new Polestar 2. But first of all, next to us, there's my colleague Fabian. And Fabian is one of our engineers, and he would like to introduce us what's going on with the new Charger 3. Hi, Fabian.
Hi, Marco. How are you?
Fine. So let's take a closer look. What is absolutely brand new at the new Charger 3?
Well, we got the, as Christoph already said, Clearview display, which includes Google Maps when you charge. You can pay by credit card or whatever. We pay Twint in Switzerland, for example. And I can show you how it works. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's see.
Okay, we simulate to plug on the car, sorry. I got the RFID card. Just hold it right here. Oh, what happens? It's the wrong RFID card. So imagine your neighbor comes with another card. It's impossible for him to load. So when you got the right RFID card, let's do the same. There you go, exactly. Now you can see how much energy the car takes, how fast it charges. For example, 22 kilowatt. Best of all is when we open the housing. We got space for the Juice Booster 2 or for the Juice Booster 3 Air. You can take it with you if you go to holidays or whatever. Exactly, that's how much.
Trip or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Pretty easy. Just for example, you can see the Google Maps to find the best restaurants nearby or whatever. Yeah. It's pretty simple. Zoom in, zoom out, like on your smartphone. Nice. Exactly.
Thank you very much, Fabian. And so let's move on with this wonderful car over here. Like the best thing on electric cars is take a look what's going on with the wheelbase. 1, 2, 3. 3 meters on the Opel Corsa E. 3 meters you had it in the past by a BMW 7 Series or by a Mercedes S-Class. And this is the reason why you have so much space inside these electric cars right now. But now we're going over to these wonderful iWays. This is the iWays U5. And I found my other colleague. This is Olivier Salkin. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Olivier Salkin. I'm responsible for the sales for the French market and the French-speaking market. And I'm responsible for the Academy, Juice Academy.
Perfect. And what is the Juice Academy doing?
Juice Academy has 4 training, basic, business, technician and expert level. We have to do all our best for cover the gap of knowledge in the electro-mobility.
I have seen in the front of the iWays that we have over here a special bag. Can you tell us 2-3 sentences about this kind of project?
Yes, we developed a special bag for iWays, a U5. It's fit in there, and we've got a booster 2 in there with a lot of adapter, household plug with temperature sensor for the Schuko frames. We've got the A2 Type 2 for the charging station. And we got the booster with a lot of industrial plug also, all fit in.
Perfect. Thank you so much and enjoy the evening. So we're taking a closer look to the last car, the Polestar. So as I said, who needs a motor show when you have the Juice Charging Day? Brand new from Sweden, the Polestar 2. It comes with a 78 kilowatt battery, 300 kilowatt of energy. That means if you take our Juice Booster 3, let's calculate it. It's 78 kilowatts divided by 11, so it's around 6.57 hours, and the car is fully charged when the battery is completely empty. But now the big moment is coming, like the highlight of the day. Our Juice Booster 3, just take a closer look, and I invite my cameraman and you guys to take a closer look to this wonderful piece. There we go. Follow me, come on. There we go. And here, the highlight of the day, the Juice Booster 3. You can directly see how small it is. It was Christoph was talking about, like, that's half of the size of the old Juice Booster. And who's next to me? Next to me is my colleague Philippe Suhr, and you are responsible for the supply chain management at Juice Technology. You want to tell us 2-3 sentences about the challenges in your job?
So my challenge indeed as a supply chain manager is to make sure that this product you see here is produced at the right time, it's delivered at the right time in the perfect quality to our customer. So this is what I'm taking care also for all our customers, to make sure that they will get all the Juice Booster 3 Air really soon in a perfect quality to their home. This is my job, and this I will take care for you.
And what do you think when we can deliver the first Juice Booster 3 to our customers?
Well, as Christoph Erni said, our CEO in the presentation just before, it will be the beginning of next year, and I'm pretty sure that we can do that, and let's see.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And just take a last look at our new app over here. You can see it, maybe not because the lighting is quite difficult for the camera right now. And what can we say? We can say thank you so much that you joined us at this wonderful evening, and we hope that you got all the information that you need it. And yeah, we have a couple of drinks right now, and we will enjoy the evening. And we say thank you and goodbye to the rest of the world. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.